Roll up, ladies and gentlemen. One man went to Mo. Here it is. We're doing it again. I didn't even know that the live twin had just gotten out. Still setting myself up somewhat. But now, roll up, ladies and gentlemen. One man went to Mo. Yes, we are doing it again. I am doing it again. Hope you're doing it with me. The session starts twice a day today. So the session starts your company required. You see, I'm somewhat flummoxed. I'm somewhat flustered because I hadn't realized that the thing had gone live. But there it is, and here I am. Join me. The usual protocol: click on the like button as you're coming in. Click on subscribe if you're not subscribed already. One man went to Mo. The eagle has landed.
Another Savior,
holy, 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 Adimebujuku. Another Savior, holy, 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 Adimebujuku.
Well, this is Mobien. This is dedicated to the gallant heroes of the Nigerian Biafra War and IPO families all over the world. I remember the Nigerian Biafran war, in the thickness of the Biafra genocide. Hey, one man revived the vanishing hope to life. Let the great Biafran army to fight, and they were singing out, holy, 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 is another Savior. They were singing out, holy, 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 holy. Another great leader has risen up now. Oh, and he's leading the Biafrans to victory. Inyamadika, yabika kokwanam no. Hey, anamekele maduche mefo. Manemo, it's an honor having you on board. When I'm singing along, holy, 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 holy. Is another Savior. Another Savior.
Holy, 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 Adimebujuku. Another Savior.
Another Savior.
Holy, 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 Adimebujuku.
Well, this is Mobien. This is dedicated to the gallant heroes of the Nigerian Biafra War and IPO families all over the world. I remember the Nigerian Biafran war, in the thickness of the Biafra genocide. Hey, one man revived the vanishing hope to life. Let the great Biafran army to fight, and they were singing out, holy, 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 holy. They were singing out, holy, 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 is another Savior. Holy, 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 is another Savior. Many years after the genocide, whoa, yet another great leader has risen up now. Oh, and he's leading the Biafrans to victory. Amadika ya bika kwa namno wow. Ana mekele mazuche mefo.
Oh, pardon me. It's quite a start today. Yeah. So that's the Holy Holy song from the eastern part. Holy Holy. It's a bit dark in here. All right. No, let me switch on the light a bit. Give me 1 second. It's not going. What a start, huh? Right. I'm not sure if that's made that much of a difference, but there it is. Holy Holy. So that's the Holy Holy song. Alexander Akashe kicks us off with the super charts. Like, share, and subscribe. So follow as instructed, like, share, and subscribe. As you can see, the ticker that is scrolling at the bottom of the screen, you can see the target for this month. So it's quite an ambitious target. So set us on the way there. So I'm confident that we can reach it. 2,500 new subscribers we're targeting for this month, and we're already 2 days in. So fast us forward to that space. So holy, holy, as guys, I bring you this. So we start off with a bit of good news. So this was a story that we did in yesterday's afternoon session. It's the narrative of a young girl that on her day off from work, she went on a Peter Obi rally. So her employer saw her putting up clips of her at that rally on her social media spaces. And when she got to work the next day, she was due back at work. The employer called her and told her she no longer had a job there, that she should go and seek employment with Peter Obi. So quite a harrowing thing, and we were all somewhat upset for the young girl, wondering what we could do. But it looks as though rescue has come the young lady's way. Lady who lost her job after attending Peter Obi's 2 million man march in Port Harcourt gets full scholarship to continue studies. So there it is, good news for the girl. I'm not sure if we had gone canvassing for money for her, how much we would have been able to raise. Certainly not enough to sponsor her full education, but it looks as though some generous soul has leapt to her aid. So a lady who lost her job after attending Peter Obi's 2 million man march in Port Harcourt gets full scholarship to continue studies. So we start off with a bit of good news, but that, of course, is where the good news ends. 2023, Peter Obi is deceiving everybody. He's a container economist. Dele Alake is the person making this bold headline. So there it is. And I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure what the what is disparaging. Pardon me. I'm not quite sure what is disparaging or how Peter Obi is diminished by being a container economist. He's a businessman and a highly successful one at that. One of the most successful men in his field in Nigeria. So that's just a Sabic comment by this character. I wonder what underpins it. Peter Obi is deceiving everybody. He's a container economist. Dele Alake are making so bold. So very swiftly, of course, he's been attacked. Obi deceiving everybody. I won't retract my statement. Still Dele Alake. So it looks as though he has gotten some pushback on that comment and is doubling down on his position. Obi deceiving everybody. I won't retract my statement. Dele Alake. So Dele Alake. So from Dele Alake, we go on to this. Why Nigeria is in debt? The DMODG. So we want to know, we'd like to know, and we also want to know how much and what it has been spent on. Why Nigeria is in debt? DMODG. So so this one I'm waiting in anticipation of how it reads. So this you can reinterpret this headline to infuse my my title, because this is really what this guy is saying in so many words. How I have titled this stream is what this guy is saying in so many words. Subsidy, why release 98 million liters of PMS instead of 60? Customs, CG, Ali, queries, and Nnpc. So, quite how Nigeria is consuming 98 million liters of PMS daily. It is just beyond. I would jump into a lake. I would jump into a well even head first if Nigeria was consuming anything more than 20 million liters of petrol a day. Where is that consumption? Is everybody every day? Anyway, we find out. Why release 98 million liters of PMS instead of 60? Customs, CG, Ali, queries, and Nnpc. So quite what's in play there. I will find out shortly. Nigerians detained in Dubai, passports seized. So that is the narrative of every Nigerian person, of course, vested upon and put upon virtually everywhere they go. But what's led to it in this instance, we'll find out shortly. So plenty to go through. So lean back, kick back, take it easy, relax into it. The usual protocol, click on the like button as you're coming in. Click on subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And if you want to join me live on the screen, click on this hyperlink that says StreamYard. So I'll post it in the comment section now. It will be the last comment until probably another comment comes in that is in the comment section. So click on like, click on subscribe, and click on the hyperlink that says StreamYard. So there it is, and there it is. Actually, let me leave it there. There was one thing that I wanted to address, but I might address it later. Is one of these elements that come on this platform, just that some lunatic fringe that goes by Pensat. A lot of people have been they've been inboxing me to say that it's been going around insulting me and the platform on some of these brainless spaces that he goes. So a lot of the rejectees, a lot of the people that couldn't quite cut it on this platform, they've gone to a lower space where the IQ that much more lower, where people like them can have some sunlight. So that's where they go to run us down, because they couldn't quite cut it with what we do here, because they don't have the brain functioning. Pansat being a very good example of that. And I heard he's now going around from platform hopping, throwing all manners of crass words in insult to the platform. So there it is. So if you've ever wondered why I kick this guy off the platform, and that is why his IQ is just too low, incoherent, completely away with the fairies. People like that, they call them water mitty personalities. Water mitty personalities. MITTY, mitty. So go look it up, and then you know why that guy is the way he is. A total low-brained, idiot. And we've packed him to where the low brains are in that Edo space that they all go to. So a lot of people have been highlighting that to me. So it'd be remiss of me not to address it. But we have to park that to one side. We don't want to go to the lower spaces to roll in the mud with the low weeds. So to it and to it and to the K guys.
Water, only water, only water, where they see ma. Water, you don't come oh. Hapa oh night oh. Oro keke elemu ye o. Ide shodi ya keke elemu re o. Obi master keke elemu re o. Chifu wela ti keke elemu re o. Erukulele elemude. Erukulele ṣe o.
And there it is right there. Iku Koneru Agbeshe, may death have nothing to do with us. May death have nothing to do with us. Iku Koneru Agbeshe, as guys, I bring you this. Lady who lost her job after attending Peter Obi's 2 million man march in Port Harcourt gets full scholarship to continue studies. A young Nigerian lady who cried out after she lost her job due to her support for the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has been given a reason to be joyful. She has been offered automatic scholarship. Let's take that again. A young Nigerian lady who cried out after she lost her job due to her support for the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has been given a reason to be joyful. She has been offered automatic scholarship to just a day. So that should be just a day. Just a day after she revealed she is stranded and unable to continue her studies because she was sacked. Correspondents reported on Thursday that one Regina Ledum said she got fired by her boss because she participated in a solidarity rally for Peter Obi. He revealed that she worked. She revealed that she worked at a hotel as a receptionist, but on the day she was off, she joined the 2 million man march that held in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. In a video making the rounds online, she narrated how her boss called her when she went to work the next day and told her to go meet Peter Obi to give her work. Regina said her boss's brother also asked her how much she was paid to participate in the rally, but she informed him that she did not collect any money. According to the lady, she pleaded with her boss not to lay her off, but her pleas fell on deaf ears as she was laid off the following day. She said that she gained admission into school this year, and the receptionist job is what she wanted to use to sustain herself while studying. Comedian Koboko shared a video of the moment she was at the 2 million man march in Port Harcourt at the weekend. He wrote, "She got sacked by her boss for supporting Peter Obi. I pray help comes her way." On hearing her story, senior pastor of Omega Power Ministry, Apostle Chibuzo Chinyere, offered to sponsor her education. In a post via his official Twitter account, the cleric wrote, "Apostle Chibuzo, OPM grants scholarship, automatic employment to girls sacked for joining Peter Obi rally by her boss." So a happy ending for that girl, and I am especially pleased to see that. So I'm especially pleased to see that because it was quite concerning. I am no Peter Obi fan, as you know, but fair dues is fair dues, and what happened to that girl completely unacceptable. So corrections made there. So back to real politics and back to the reality of it. 2023. Peter Obi is deceiving everybody. He is a container economist. Dele Alake, the director of strategic communication of the All Progressives Congress APC Presidential Campaign Council, Dele Alake, has stated that Labour Party's presidential candidate Peter Obi is a very deceptive person and has no capacity to improve Nigeria's economic conditions. According to Dele, Peter Obi is a container economist, and the evidence is clear with how he runs his personal businesses. Dele concluded that he would not apologize to any Peter Obi supporter for his statements because they are facts. He said, "I said Peter Obi wants to," I said Obi said he wants to move Nigeria back from consumption to production, and I said it is not true. He cannot do it because his own business survives on consumption. Is that a lie? He has been an importer, and I said he deals with cash and carry economics, container economics, import. All the goods that can be produced in Nigeria, Obi imports them in his supermarket. that is consumption economics. That kind of person cannot tell you that he's moving you from consumption to production. He will then be committing self-economic suicide, and Obi will not do that to himself. So Obi is deceiving everybody, and I cannot take that back because it is true. So it's almost as though, because how many months have we been saying the exact same thing on this? You know that there's one particular wine or drink that is very popular amongst Nigerians. This guy is one of the main importers of that. You know, is the sole importer, yes, I think the sole importer of Heinz products in West Africa. All of his economy dependent on import, and is telling you that he wants to move to production. That's not self-sabotage. A virulous cash and carry container economist telling you now that he wants to become a producer in his latter years. Completely deceptive, of course, and rightly so by Dele Alake. But then, of course, the clap back and the pushback vociferous. Obi deceiving everybody. I won't retract my statement. Still with Dele Alake. Dele Alake, Director of Strategic Communication in All Progressives Congress APC Presidential Campaign Council, has vowed not to apologize to supporters of Peter Obi. Former governor, pardon me, I was downloading something just now. Let me see if it's done. And then, let me see if it's done, and then I'll upload it onto, because I might well want to play it to you later. Just give me one moment. Okay, all right, let's just grab that. All right, let's grab that. All right, let's take that from top again. Obi deceiving everybody. I won't retract my statement. Dele Alake. Dele Alake, Director of Strategic Communications in All Progressives Congress APC Presidential Campaign Council, has vowed not to apologize to supporters of Peter Obi, former Anambra State Governor and Labour Party LP presidential candidate, over recent comments he made about Obi ahead of the 2023 general elections. Alake, who was a guest on News Central TV, was asked if he will retract some of the statements he made against Obi, as his supporters, popularly called obedience, are unhappy with him. Responding, Alake said he would not retract any of the things he said, as his statements about Obi are based on empirical evidence and verifiable facts. He said, I said so many things about Obi, and I cannot take anything back because everything I said is the truth. I speak with conviction. I am not a propagandist. I am a publicist. There is a wide difference between propaganda and publicity. Publicity is anchored on action, on verifiable facts, empiricism. So that's I had to struggle with that one. Now, propaganda can be vacuous, amorphous, nebulous, actually neither here nor there. So whatever I said about Tinubu is anchored on empiricism and verifiable facts. I cannot take anything back about Obi. I said Obi said he wants to move Nigeria back from consumption to production. And I said it is not true. He cannot do it because his own business survives on consumption. Is that a lie? He has been an importer, and I said he deals with cash and carry economics, container economics, and import. So there he is. He doubles down on that position. Why Nigeria is in debt? DMO DG. The Director General of the Debt Management Office, DMO, Mrs. Patience Oniha, yesterday attributed Nigeria's high debt profile to lack of revenues and approval of the annual budget with a deficit by the National Assembly, which increased the debt stock of the country. She said Nigeria has been running on debit deficit for so many decades, which in turn affects its revenue profile. Appearing before the House of Representatives Committee on finance interfacing with the DMO on the heels of the consideration of medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper from 2023 to 25. Oniha said Nigeria is indebted to the tune of 41.6 trillion naira. According to her, until the issues of personnel overhead and capital expenditure are properly addressed in the budget, borrowing will not stop. She said, as you know, we publish the debt numbers quarterly, which is why there is a lot of discussions around it. But let me just give some numbers. As at December 2020, the debt stock of Nigeria, and that includes the federal, state, and the Federal Capital Territory FCT, was 32.92 trillion. By December, so that was in 2020, December 2020. By December 2021, it was 39.556 trillion naira. As at March of this year, we published quarterly, it was 41.6 trillion naira. On the average, federal government, it is about, on average, it is about 85% of the total. Technically, the bulk of it is the federal government. So 85% of the 41.6 trillion naira debt is owed at the federal space, because the 41.6 trillion is the culmination of all of the debts owed by the country across all the stratas of governance. But the bulk of that, 85%, is at the federal space. Our debt has grown, and that has come really from the annual budget. There are three levels where those borrowings have increased. We have been running deficit budgets for many years. So each time you approve a budget with a deficit, by the time we raise that money, because when you approve, it is giving us a mandate, authority to borrow, it will reflect in the debt stock. So debt stock will increase. Also remember that states are equally borrowing, so we add their own. They also have laws governing their borrowings. The second leg to that really is debt stocks increases. So does debt service. And so the clear message is go through the budget. We have been having deficit budget for many years and have been borrowing significantly. From COVID in 2020, the level of borrowing had increased significantly, as you know. Those budgets passed through this house. The issue is, how do you reduce that debt? One of it is revenue, which we have talked about. So if revenues are high, your deficit will be lower and your new borrowing will be lower, and then your new borrowing will be less and your debt stock will be slower, and debt service to revenue will now be so high. So the challenge is, we have been borrowing because of shortfalls. So the other thing to do is, let's look at our expenditure profile. What can we do to reduce this? Because you are asking me, what is the remedy? It is from the budget. There is revenue. There is expenditure listed in various categories: personnel, overhead, and capital. So those are the overheads. So I hope she gives us a breakdown of where the bulk of it goes. So personnel, I wonder what the difference is between personnel. No, yes, I do know what the difference is. So personnel, overhead, and capital. So those are what bring out the deficit we borrow for. It is those things that should be interrogated in addition to increasing revenue significantly. Let me say that a World Bank report just showed that in terms of debt to GDP ratio, Nigeria is low, but for debt service to revenue ratio, we are very high. So let's understand that. So in terms of debt to GDP ratio, Nigeria is low, but for debt service to revenue, all right. So yeah. So in terms of debt to GDP ratio, so in terms of the debt that the country is, let's say for instance, let's use a property. Let's use a property for instance. So let's say you own a property worth 1,000 naira, and you are carrying a debt of 100 naira. So in terms of debt, the debt to the actual value of your finances, it's quite low because you are owing less than 10%. We are owing around about 10% of your actual financial worth. So now let's say though that you are owing 100 naira, but your income is 10 naira, then your debt to revenue ratio is high. So that's probably the best way to explain that. So let me say that a World Bank report just showed that in terms of debt to GDP ratio, Nigeria is low, but for debt service to revenue ratio, we are very high. So if you look at tax to GDP ratio of these other countries, they are in multiples of Nigeria. The World Bank report did a survey, and I think it is about 197 countries, and Nigeria is numbered 195, meaning we beat only two countries, and that is Yemen and Afghanistan. And I don't think we want to be at those places. So that again, I think this is a narrative that one of the panelists on this platform has been trying to push, that Nigeria is undertaxed. Nigeria is undertaxed. So it says, so if you look at tax to GDP ratio of these other countries, they are in multiples of Nigeria. The World Bank report did a survey, and I think it's about 197 countries, and Nigeria is 195, meaning we beat only two countries, and that is Yemen and Afghanistan. So only Yemen and Afghanistan collect lesser tax than Nigeria. So we can't talk about borrowing without talking about revenue. And we can't say why is the debt stock growing. It is growing because we are running deficit budget, and some of you may be aware we are also issuing promissory notes to refinance arrears of government, which also comes to the National Assembly for approval. What we as DMO have been saying, particularly since 2020, when the MTEF for 2021 and to 2023, so that's the medium-term economic forecast or framework. So that's what MTEF means. What we as DMO have been saying, particularly since 2020, when the MTEF for 2021 to 2023 was being prepared, is to say, hey, let's begin to look at revenues, because as debt is growing, debt services are growing. So the language we used was for debt to be sustained medium term. So the language we used was for debt to be sustained in the medium term. Sorry, let me just remove this thing. All right, let's take that again. So the language we used was for debt to be sustained in the medium term. Sustainable means you can service your debt without difficulty, without it consuming all your revenue, because you have very little for other projects. You must look at revenues very closely. And I think the discussion you have had with the customs is one part of it. There are many other revenue generating agencies. So we must increasingly begin to look at our revenue for funding activities, such as for funding activities as opposed to deficit. So generate revenue is not, anyway, let me not even go there. We talk about 11 trillion deficit and borrowings for 2023. How much is the revenue there? That's one. When we look at the first tranche, that was 10 trillion for full year of subsidy and 9 trillion for subsidy next year, the size of the borrowing was 62% of the budget. That is high. So a budget that the responsibilities, I think, are on both sides. Query the various expenditure lines and see what it is we can handle. So if the deficit is lower, the borrowing will be lower, and that is how to grow on a slow pace. The DMODG justified the past borrowings, pointing to the modernization of the airport and the construction of more rail lines and roads. I think we should be fair to ourselves as people serving Nigeria to say we can't see what we use the borrowings for. This might not be exactly true. Look at the airport. How many do you have? We have a new international airport in Abuja. You have the modernization in Kano, even Enugu, that is now international. Those come from borrowing. The rail lines have also come from borrowings. So it is a zero performance. So it is not a zero performance. Those things generate revenue in some other countries. We have those projects, not just, we have those projects, not just this one in Abuja, then on Sukuk, which is a project tied to borrowing. You have seen those ones, she said. In his remark, the deputy chairman of the committee, Saudu Abdullahi, who presided over the session, said the country was on a good pedestal to keep borrowing. I want to appreciate the fact that for a developing country, the need for borrowing will always be there. It doesn't matter how much we make, the country must borrow. What we should be interested in is the sustainability of what we are borrowing. And from what she has said, the country is on a good pedestal in terms of managing its borrowings, he said. So let's borrow more is the upshot of that. So an interesting read, of course. So you are borrowing and you don't have the revenue to back it up, and that is essentially the outtake from that. So there it is. So that's a recipe for bankruptcy. A recipe for bankruptcy, and this next headline certainly doesn't help. Subsidy. Why release 98 liters of PMS instead of 60? Customs CG Ali queries Nnpc. The Controller General of the Nigerian Customs Services, the Controller General of Nigeria's Customs Service, Colonel Hameed Ali, retired, has queried why the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPCL Limited, so the Controller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Colonel Hameed Ali, retired, has queried why the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, so they've added limited now, NNPCL, would allow the release of 98 million liters of petrol per day for local consumption instead of the 60 million liters admitted by its own computation. So that's the opening paragraph, but let's just wait and reflect. Let's just pause for a moment and reflect on that. So by their own computations, because they have all the data, of course, to know what's going on in the country, by their own computation and by their own studies and data, NNPC, they know that the consumption daily, they don't know if concluded that the daily consumption of petrol within Nigeria is 60 million liters per day. That is a lie, of course. Every one of us know that the consumption, no more than 20, 30 million. But by their computation, they've arrived at the figure of 60 million liters per day. But then they are releasing 98 million liters per day. So that is over 50% more, nearly 60% more of their computation is what they are claiming to be releasing from the Nnpc. So how is that possible? Why is that done? What are the logistics for that? All of that. The Controller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Colonel Hameed Ali, retired, has queried why the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, NNPCL, would allow the release of 98 million liters of petrol per day for local consumption instead of the 60 million liters admitted by its own computation. He wondered where 38 million liters were always taken. Ali, who couldn't come to terms with the situation, spoke of the factors that led to smuggling, and on the heels of the 11 trillion projected 2023 budget deficit, which arose from the payment of fuel subsidy at the ongoing interactive session with the House of Representatives Committee on Finance on the consideration of the medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper for 2023 to 2025. He also said the service has so far generated 1.167 trillion from the targeted 2.272 trillion for 2022. He said, I remember that last year we spoke about this, but unfortunately this year we're talking about subsidy again. The over 11 trillion naira we are going to take as debt, more than half of it is going for subsidy. The issue is not about smuggling of petroleum products. I have always argued this with NNPC. If we are consuming 60 million liters per day, by their own computation, why would you allow the release of 98 million liters per day? If you know this is our consumption, why would you allow that release? Scientifically, you cannot tell me that if I fill my tank today, tomorrow, I will fill the same tank with the same quantity of fuel. If I am operating a fuel station and I go to Mina Depot, lift petrol, and take it to Kaduna, I may get to Kaduna in the evening and offload that fuel. There is no way I would have sold off that petrol immediately to warrant another load. So, how did you get to 60 million liters per day? That is my problem. The issue of smuggling, if you release 98 million liters in actual if the issue of smuggling, if you release 98 million liters in actual and 60 million liters is used, the balance should be 38 million liters. How many trucks will carry 38 million liters every day? Which road are they following and where are they carrying these things to? The approved budget for 2021 was 1.67 trillion, and at the end of 2021 we were able, so he's speaking about his own department now. So the approved not budget but target, the approved target for 2021 was 1.67 trillion, and at the end of 2021 we were able to collect 1.715 trillion. For 2022 we have a target of 2.272 trillion. So far, by the end of July, we have collected 1.167 trillion. Our projection for 2023, 24, and 25, based on the parameters we have circulated, we hope and pray we should be able to collect blah, 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 blah. Our account is with the central bank. The Federation's account is with the central bank. Throughout my life in this agency, I don't think we have ever obtained any statement of account from the Central Bank of Nigeria. What we do is to reconcile collection, i.e., what we have collected and what we have remitted. So we don't have a statement of account. They will only give us statement of account on the money they keep for us, which is our 7% cost of collection. Speaking on the cost of collection and remittances, Ali said they live on the process of their own labor, adding that the service was doing all it could to adequately police the borders to curb rice smuggling into the country. Nigerian Customs Service is the only organization today that has to fight to collect revenue. It is the only organization that loses its men in the course of collecting revenue and enforcing anti-smuggling provisions. It is the only organization that raises its funds on a regular basis. As a result of this, the government agreed to give us 7% cost of collection. By my so what does that mean, and who does that go to? Yeah, I don't know. Well, the whole of Nigeria just shrouded in just layers of corruption. By my understanding, the cost of collection is paying for our own labor. That is what we live on. That is what we pay our salaries with and fund our capital projects. There is no other law anywhere that gives us a subvention from the government. This is our sole income. In 2017, let me abandon it there because it goes on to speak about its department. But then, of course, I only wanted that piece on the Nnpc. So let me land finally on this to see if there's anybody in the room to take it on. Nigerians detained in Dubai, passports seized. Some Nigerians who traveled to Dubai were detained at the airport and their passports seized. Few others were seen demanding answers after their passports were seized without explanation. Others are seen sitting in an empty area as they waited to know their fate. One of the persons here who shared the video revealed that her sister later picked her up from the immigration after a tedious process, but other Nigerians who didn't have anyone in the country were not released. It doesn't tell us. What exactly happened there, but let's just see. Hold on. There is hold on. Hold on. There is there's somewhat of a clip there with I'm going to see if I can grab it. If I grab the clip, I'll play it to you to see if it adds anything to the narrative. So they're being held, but why are they being held? And why is their passport being taken? What have they done? What are they standing accused of, etc.? So all of that not explained. It's just that they are being held and their passports being seized. So that makes absolutely no sense at all. But let's see if we can. Let's see if we can. Okay, let's see. Okay, all right. Let's have a listen to this clip and see if it actually adds anything onto that rather ambiguous sort of a readout. So let's have a look at this clip as I bring on the panelists. Exira, I see you. Ajale Koko, I see you. So good to have you, gentlemen. And Alexander Akashe is inviting you all to like, share, and subscribe. So like, share, and subscribe. Let me see if that thing is fully uploaded. So now let's find out now what exactly is happening in Dubai.
We have a human right. United Nations, if I say United Nations don't have this thing, it doesn't make sense. I have a human right. They approved my visa before I came here. I used my money, I buy my ticket. I came to visit.
I'm not asking to stay. I don't want to share anymore.
Go outside. Tell her to go outside. Go outside. Go outside. Go outside.
That's what is happening right now. We are stranded in Dubai. Look at all of us. There are so many of us. Somebody should help us, please.
We didn't commit anything. For what reason? They approved your visa.
And there it is. They go outside from the rag head in Dubai. So let's go straight to it. Let's go to Exiro. Exiro, are you ready?
Yes, I'm here with you, man. I'm here with you.
All right, brilliant. Good to have you, Exero. So what are you then making then? I couldn't make any sense of that, could you? So they are held at the airport, their passports seized, there's no explanation, they have valid visas. Is this just the standard Nigeria? Is just go outside from some Middle Eastern raghead? What are you making of that, Exero?
You're making me laugh by saying go outside by Middle Eastern rackets. You see, those people that were actually telling the Nigerians to go outside, that's their own way of putting their own message out. Because there's actually, my findings show that there's actually a new visa policy by the Dubai government to not give visas to Nigerians under 40. The only reason why they are going to go out of that policy is if those Nigerians are coming with a family. So it's either you are a family, you are coming as a family, and you are there must be evidence of that family with you in the plane when you land in Dubai, or you are above 40, and also you must have a return ticket. But it seems that they could not communicate it better. They have a communication problem. So the only way of sending that message out is go outside, which I.
But why did they issue them the visas in the first place?
You should know this is the same reason why the UK issues visas to almost every Nigerian, because they make money from these things. These are money making ventures. So they want you to flout it so that they can push you to go outside. At the end of the day, the airline makes money, pays them their taxes, their own government makes money, and at the end of the day, you don't come in. These people don't have communication. Proper communication channels. I don't know. Nobody heard about this policy, and I don't think these Nigerians were advised properly, or maybe they were advised, but they thought that they could still maneuver the system and take the visa for family and go there anyways, But when those people came into to Dubai, they found them not with their family. And why they got family visas? So that is why you saw that video playing out there.
The Nigerian gets a particular and a very peculiar treatment almost globally. I've seen, I saw this guy that was traveling to Pakistan of all places. It's a Brit and nothing at all to do with Nigeria. But when he came out of the airport, he was narrating his experience. He says it was quite a gruesome, quite a grueling experience. And he said they kept circling around him, asking if he was Nigerian. This is in Pakistan. So it looks as though there's a particular Nigerian immigration policy globally.
Yeah, of course, we saw this thing didn't just start today. I know Ajani Koko will want to disagree with me. There was a time a Nigerian was caught in, I think it was in one of those Asian countries, and he was asked some questions. He was asked to say certain things, and the person that was interrogating him was now saying, "I know you are Igbo, you are the problem of Nigeria." He was saying that, and
where was this?
This is an Asian country. Their immigration was interrogating this guy, and this is what they were saying. Said, "I know you're from the southeast. It is you guys that are a problem of Nigeria." This is information. How did this guy get to start singling out a person's ethnicity from a country, if not informations passed to him?
Would it be information passed to him or their lived experience within the space?
Now you see, that's the argument I don't want to go into with you, because if I see a Pakistani, for goodness sake, I don't know how many tribes there are in Pakistan. I treat him as a Pakistani. But when somebody starts to single out the ethnicity of a Nigerian in their own country, then you know that somebody or some people must have said, these things happened when the Igbos were being chastised here and there. There was this event where the Ban Ki-moon, or what was his name?
Sorry, I didn't want to open up that space, but since you've opened it up, yes. I think they identify the Igbos in, especially in those Asian-like countries. Go to click on Nigerian arrested, or if you're on Google now, click on Nigerian arrested in India and look at the first 10 article that pops up and tell me if you see a non-Igbo name.
I don't want to argue with you about that. What I'm saying is they are Nigerians. But when somebody starts singling out the ethnic group of it, it's like you now saying, I know you are from, I don't even know how many ethnic groups there are in other countries. All I know is if you present me a visa, a passport, and I see the country, I address you as that country citizen. But when somebody starts to dig deep and say you are from this particular tribe or this, then you know there's a hand behind it. You know, that's what I'm saying. These things that are happening will not be happening if we have people from other ethnic groups traveling like Igbos. And you know this, So that's why I want to leave that at. If this was affecting the Northerners and maybe other people from other, you will see that there will be much more intervention. There will be much more intervention, because these people, this Dubai that you are saying, they have flights. They are benefiting from the flight arrangement between Nigeria and Dubai. These are bilateral arrangements. It's like 20 to 1. It's like 20 to 1. They're not using the airspace more. They are benefiting from this. For them to go further to insult us like this, it means that they've seen that there's no consequence that's going to take place. Nothing's going to happen if they treat, because if this were to be a European and there was this policy, it will be handled differently. And you know that. If this was to be a Fulani, it will be handled differently. So I think Nigeria has to, there's no time everybody's going to be abreast with information. But at times, you value what you get, or the relationship between you and another country, by treating its citizens well, or at least preventing this kind of situation. If these things are happening, they are just happening all of a sudden. You start the information process from there. You know that there's an information gap. First and foremost, you go to the embassies and say, why is this happening? Why are people taking in family visas and are coming here alone? There's an information gap. You can see from the video, the man is just saying, go outside, go out. Like, there's no information. We couldn't get any information from this guy. There's an information gap. People might have taken that visa out of ignorance. So there's a lot that needs to be done. A country cannot be in the mess for the last.
I think that green passport of Nigeria is probably one of the most grueling passports to take through the borders of any country. If you go through the African borders, it's the same. If you go through the Asian borders, the same. Europe, Americas, that is the most grueling thing, carrying that passport through some immigration space anywhere.
Yeah, I just see that Alexander Akwashi said there were Northerners in that video too. That tells you that there's an information gap somewhere. There's an information gap somewhere. Dubai, for goodness sake, I don't know. I don't see that as a place where people go to hustle. I don't know what kind of hustle. I see that as a
you know, there's to be fair, there's been increasing violent crimes being committed in Dubai, which is largely by Nigerians. We've all seen the clips, and they don't want that sort of culture to take root in their country.
Yeah, well, like I said,
so that's why they've specifically. You said Nigerians over under 40, but it's actually Nigerian males under 40. So they are especially targeting young Nigerian men
Okay.
not to come in.
Okay. There's then in those countries you must look at, because there's no, like I said, if you look at every country, I take this country for example, Sweden here, for example, there is no increase in crime that is not because of the negligence of the authorities. In Sweden here, it's not totally perfect. We have places we call ghettos. They are not if you see those places in Nigeria, they're like king's place, you know, they are very nice. But they're called ghetto because the more the foreigners are in a particular area, the lesser the care by the authorities. You find that there are more crimes because the issues that are affecting these communities are not tackled right on time.
But the issues affecting those communities, they are alien and foreign to the country. So the issues that the foreigner brings are not issues that are traditionally known to the Swedes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the point. I'm not saying the Swedes is wrong in opening his doors to foreigners. What I'm saying is, it's a learning process. It's a learning curve. You learn, they learn.
I have a friend there, actually, Oscar King. Do you know him?
So am I not your friend?
No, well, I have another friend.
Oscar King. Okay, you give me his contact. If he knows, I'm sure he knows me because everyone knows me here.
But he lives in the posh area, so you might not know him.
I am in the thick of the posh.
Eh?
And I live in the street.
Right.
Actually, there are no other Nigerians where I live.
Because he's always swimming in lakes and this kind of going skiing. He's one of those people that go skiing. Black man skiing.
Mama, we are not like you guys. If the price is 20 crowns, it's 20 crowns for everybody. There's nothing that Mr. A can afford that Mr. B cannot afford in Sweden.
Thank you for sharing.
Unless it is more something that's too extra, which nobody needs, which is just for your own idiosyncrasy. But if it's a normal, everybody can afford everything here. That is one thing we are protecting. That's why we don't want every Tom, Dick, and Harry to come here. Leave us. You understand? But I'm just saying.
Who constitutes the bulk of the blacks in Sweden? Who constitutes the bulk of the blacks?
Well, I think there are. I think Gambians, Somalians, maybe Uganda.
Anywhere you have Somalians, you always have an increase in crime. They are just criminal-minded people.
And the Nigerians are in these big cities. Yes, we are gaining in proportion now. But like I said, once you find foreigners, the natives become too lazy to cater for their problems, and the foreigners want to be themselves. So there's always this clash, And if the natives apply pressure, the foreigners, throw out the racist card. So it's just everybody's just careful, and then things happen on the ground, and nobody wants to give information to the foreigners because they already see them as racist. So it begins like that, it continues like that.
All right, brilliant. Brilliant. Let me let me read out not Alexander Gomez. I'm so used to Alexander being the only one that super chats. I was going to say let me read Alexander Gomez's super chat, but no, it is Kulata in this instance. So I have somewhat of a provocative super chat by Kulata. It says happened in Southeast Asia where a lot of Southeasterners had been caught with drugs. Those countries have their own intelligence apparatus and can differentiate. So I think that is the roundabout way that I was trying to go to with X-Zero. They know who they. I mean, they are not just random people now. These are security operatives now, and through their interactions with criminality from a particular area, they are able to narrow it down to its peculiarities.
No. I disagree with you. You are just being academic here.
All right.
If you take things from the realistic point of view, once you see a Ugandan, it's like somebody posted on the comment section. It's just a clever argument. If you see a Ugandan or a Somalian, it was recently I knew that there are different ethnic groups in Somalia. If you see a Kenyan, you will not be asking, these are Kisi people. These are what is it called?
No, you can differentiate. I can differentiate.
I
know a Maasai when I see for one different from.
That's trying to be academic, but on the real.
Do you not know a Maasai? Do you not know a Maasai distinct and distinguished from the Kenyan?
The Maasai is dressed. You don't know who is it.
No, not even when they are dressed, because they have very distinct physiological features.
Well, I don't. You will not go to that extent. That's what I'm saying. That's too academic. Once you see a Ugandan is a Ugandan. If a Somalian is a Somalian, a Gambian is a Gambian. You don't go looking for their ethnic groups or tribes. It's only because in Nigeria we are just against ourselves. It is since this government started that they started using those methods. Since this Buhari government entered, people bringing in goods from outside, they are being chastised. There's a situation where somebody brought in goods. They were telling since you are from Igbo, you have to pay triple the amount to clear this. And that's how they've been chastised up left, right, and center. We cannot, even if you deny me, I cannot deny it. There's nothing I'm gaining from telling you lies here. I'm telling you what I know from people.
I know that those one of the spaces that needs to be cleaned up is that importing something, yes. The arbitrariness of the fees. You know, it should be an automated system. Yes. You shouldn't even have any interaction with any personnel at all. Exactly. You should just go to a depot, haven't paid all your fees online, and load your goods onto your truck and be away. You know.
No, these things are done because they are from other tribes, and it is unfair. It is so. It's just too. I don't know. That's why I say maybe Ajaleko is going to argue with me here, but I'm saying it because I've seen people who complain this thing. People who were importing before, I had to stop. Even me, I was even thinking of doing those things. I had to just leave the whole idea because you import something and then you find it decaying in Nigeria. Nobody's buying because the economy was. In fact, this economy was intentionally shattered because it was the Igbos importing. Igbos outside. Everything.
Oh, come on! No, God. Now you are going too far. You are going too far.
Argue with me. That's why I say I don't want to. I know that some people want to argue with me, but you know, if you don't feel the pinch, you will not know it because you've never thought about sending something back home to be sold. Maybe the only time you ever sent a vehicle is for your auntie to use or somebody. If you are in this, you will see how bad it has become.
Yeah, but I think it's bad universally, not specifically at any ethnic group. It's
predominantly Igbo business, so there are going to be what's it called? Casualties, of course, but basically they want to kill that business for the Igbo man, and it's not fair.
All right, for time, let me take you to another space. On the route there, let me acknowledge Oliver Nwoko's super sticker. So thank you for the super sticker, Oliver, also known as San Diego. So that's San Diego under his real name. So thank you for the super sticker, San Diego. But you were talking about the Igbos and their penchant for importing, exporting. So there's this side fight that is going on within the Nigerian space. Peter Obi, of course, at the heart of it, and at the opposing side, the director of our communications for the APC presidential space. So he says Peter Obi is deceiving everybody. He's a container economist, Dele Alake. So he's said this, and then of course, as you'd expect, the clap back swift and sharp from the usual quarters. But he's come back to double down that no, he's actually right in to make that assertion, and this is what he said. He said, Obi said he wants to move Nigeria back from consumption to production. And I said, this is not true. He cannot do it because his own business survives on consumption. Is that a lie? He's an importer. And I said he deals with cash and carry economics, container economics, imports. So he says, So that's essentially one of the criticisms that has been levied against Peter Obi is consumption, production, and all of this mantra chanting, these peppy little sound bites. Is good at a sound bites, and sound bites are always catchy and resonates with people. But if you press it a little bit, then it starts to falter. Peter Obi for several decades has been an importer, sole importer of so many goods in Nigeria and West Africa. Doesn't have a factory anywhere to produce anything, but he's telling you that it's the and it's all consumption based, by the way. His business model, which Alake has derisively described as a container economics. So he lives one way but preaches another. Is the hypocrisy of it is what Alake is highlighting. No doubt you disagree, X0.
Well, I don't know what's that man's name again that said that.
Alake, Dele Alake.
I think he should keep quiet, please, because it's so obvious that there's enormous land in the north, and the north is about to be very rich. They're already rich because recent times showed us that when they ceased supply, demand increased. So what are we saying here? When the north ceased supply of meat, demand increased. When they ceased supply of tomato, the prices went up. What are we saying? And they're about to be richer than, they're supposed to be the richest region in Nigeria, no doubt. Because in some countries, ordinary palm oil fetches them more money than what our oil fetches us. How much is oil? How much is oil? This oil that they are just shouting oil, oil. How much is oil? Where is the land in Nigeria? So I think it's just a primary school. It's just a primary school topic that once there's land and you mechanize agriculture, there is going to be enormous money to be made. The only problem with Nigeria...
Who is texting you? You have no friends. Are you texting yourself to try to pretend like you're popular?
You know, I'm always busy now. I told you everyone knows me here because I work for everyone. So like I said, it's only a primary school somebody who wants to gain attention that will be debating that the land in the north should not be utilized or it cannot provide more. Look, let me tell you, people come from all the way from Togo, Cameroon, Ghana, and these other countries surrounding us to buy goods in Onitsha. And they go to Kano to buy. There are some large markets in Nigeria where these people come from, where these people come to buy and live. And this is just because it's still an informal business. Imagine when it is transformed and these businesses are helped. They are pushed by the government.
But you are not addressing the criticism that Alake is throwing in Peter Obi's way.
If I am selling belts, and importing belts from China and selling in Nigeria, it doesn't mean that I don't know that if Nigeria produces belt, it is going to be best for Nigeria.
Yeah, but that's a consumption economy, though.
No, I'm telling you that it's what I'm doing to survive. Doesn't mean that if I see Nigeria's best, I will not say it because I want to keep Nigeria. Just like they are selling generators, and I want to keep selling generators that because it's my business, and that if I become president, I will not increase the national grid because I want to keep my generator business flowing.
That's somewhat of a false analogy.
You said this man said Obi made his money through importing.
He is making still his money through importation. He's a container economist who is preaching production. So his business model in his personal life is based on consumption, which is a consumption economy. So if he thought production was a pathway with the level of success that he has achieved, how come he doesn't have one single production outlet within the country? So that is the inherent hypocrisy in his mantra.
This seems to be the problem with Nigeria and Nigerians. A man comes, tells you something that is not going to be good for his business, but because it is going to be good for the larger scale of Nigerians, he tells you, you now use it against him. The man said, even from me and you, our own perspective, we can see that if you set up
a zero
factory in Nigeria.
Zero.
Because you don't have power. You don't have anything to support it.
Zero.
Where people will go into it. It is not supported right now. And he's coming to support. That's why he talks about power. If he's talking about production, it means that he's going to increase electricity so that production will be viable. Right now, production is not viable. You set up a production factory, you power it yourself, there's no road, you have to pay for that. Before it gets to the final consumer, the price is up and nobody buys it. The man is telling you that production is key. For you to get production fixed, you have to fix power. You have to fix security. You cannot go into production now. People who are going into farming now, they are paying taxes to terrorists. You and I know this.
Zero. 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 Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
And look, you should not be defending indefensible. Obi have been operating this business for decades. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
And this man have been making that money via that container economy. And he's the sole distributor of this thing in West Africa. He never for once say, let me go and even say, if not in Nigeria, let's even agree that Nigerian does not have that enabling environment for production. In Ghana, in other West African countries, he never set up one industry to create wealth for our people. And you want to come and defend him that it is, no, you just accept it that, well, that area, I don't support it. I think it's wrong there. Maybe you can do better now. And instead of defending that, oh, this man, this, and you are not losing anything, for just accepting where this man have done wrong. And it's a legitimate question. This man, he's not practicing. In that area of production, he has never practiced what he's preaching now. He has in his business practice, he has never practiced it. Let's just accept it.
Hi, Ajaliko, can I intervene?
Yes.
Okay. And in my own opinion, I think he's coming from the idea, of production. I mean, he hasn't done any production, he has been on the consuming level, but it's just an idea that he's proposing. I don't think he's preaching the consumption to production that he's practicing already, but he's trying to see this is what Nigeria need. And when I come into the presidency, I'm going to implement this. You don't have to be an expert in that area.
Yeah, but if he believes in it as a model, why hasn't he practiced it in his own personal life?
Probably that wasn't in his business model, but this is what he's proposing for the country.
I think he has done even.
I don't think he has done it, but it's a proposition.
Let me tell you guys, if that guy have set up industry for hens, production of tomato paste and not this, do you know how much job he will have created, how much skill he will have developed, how much wealth he will have created for our people and our country? He had the opportunity to do it, but he didn't want to do it because he knew, it's cheaper, it's quicker to make money via importation than production. So he has never practiced it. He had the opportunity to do that, but he didn't do it. Now he's saying, this is what I want to do. It is a legitimate question. It is a legitimate question that the opposition are asking him and telling us that, look at this man. This man is just talking rubbish. What he's saying he wants to do when he gets to government, he has never practiced, he has never done it in his own business practice. So he contributed immensely, to the devastation of our economy by his importation of that product into our place. Okay. Let us agree.
Ajalikoka, I agree with what he said, but this is just a proposition. Let me use another analogy. You have somebody in the military like Obasanjo. I mean, he was just a military man, and he doesn't have much of administrative level. When he came in, wasn't he one of the best presidents we ever have? Because of he used a different idea which he has in practice. So you can't really condemn what he said. I can understand the political, aspect of it, criticizing him. That's okay. You can criticize, but you can't just say that he can implement this production he's proclaiming right now. I mean, it's totally wrong to say he can do it. I don't know if he can do it, but it's all political. You can say, yeah, you have a right to criticize everything, but you have no definitely knowledge that he can do it because he hasn't done it. He has been only on the consumption, level of it. He has not been able to produce. That means he can produce.
He has not shown any capacity.
How you know?
At all.
Ajelekoko.
Yeah.
Ajelekoko.
Yes.
Good morning, afternoon, evening. I think this is the dumbest defense or attack I have seen on Obi. Whatever way, I do not know how we can even discuss this as an issue. And I'll tell you why. We are running an import-dependent economy. We'll be running that. The companies that are already in Nigeria are already dead. What is the source of raw materials that will be available to build that hind singlet? Where do you have your cotton? We have
that is very even easy. It's just a tomato. Do you know how many tomatoes that we wasted and
tomatoes. In fact, it's Dangote that is doing something about it now. Because
Dangote is doing something about it now. Look at your man.
And that hospital.
Do you
all
know,
his business practice he has killed the contributed to
one man.
Do you know?
One man, just a second, please.
One at a time.
One man, just a second, please.
Yeah, go on.
I've not been on this platform for maybe a couple of days now, but I don't know if it's can we just move away from this Peter Obi stuff, because at the end of the day they will say they don't want it to be tribalistic, but when any topic comes, it becomes so irritating the way they come in, defending the indefensible. Let's just move away, please.
All right. I agree with that. I think I know what Enigmatic is saying, because a valid criticism is defended blindly, even though we've done it so many times. Like when we were doing the corruption phases of Peter Obi, and we come up with all this endless evidence and the most spurious comeback and the most ludicrous argument. Okay, you can say, okay, maybe he is corrupt, but certainly he's not as corrupt as others. So that can be an argument, but they want to, and it's the same with this Heinz when he tells us that he believes in production, consumption, and production, but he's one of the most successful businessmen in Nigeria. All based on consumption. It's just, where do you even go with that? Then it just becomes like a blind argument.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yeah. Go on, and then we hear from Babati, and then Exiro can round off, and then we go back to Babati because for time. Yeah. Let's hear from you, San Diego.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this subject. I mean, you know how I am. I mean, if there's criticism that I see that is warranted, I don't have any issue. I mean, all this Tinubu crime, Atiku crime, will be crime. I'm not privy to it, and none of them has been indicted. So I can only speculate. You did this. I don't have any issue you bringing. I mean, like I said, I support to be. I mean, I don't even have any PVC, but we just here talking anyway. I think my only issue with you about this, I don't have any issue you bringing about all these things, whether it's true or it's not true, we are all speculating. I mean, because none of them have been indicted, so that's the way I look at it. The three candidates, none of them has been indicted. We can call them criminal, but they're not criminal until they're actually indicted. But my only issue with you is one man. You have to balance the whole thing. I don't have any issue. Bring 100 of them, because I have been able to tabulate how much you talk about a big crime. When you talk about Atiku, you only say, okay, they are criminal. You never go in detail like you go to a B. If you have been balanced, oh man, you'll be equal. I mean, that notwithstanding, now I still love you. I still love the show.
No, I
take
what you're saying, and quite a few people have said that as well. And the reason why we might not be, why I may not be weighing heavily on Tinubu and Atiku is that the space has already considered that they are hardened criminals and they're extremely corrupt. So if we go there, then we're only really establishing what everybody already agrees. But Peter Obi is also a hardened criminal and highly corrupt. Okay. But people are trying to tell us differently. So that's why that space is being labeled. If we consider that they are all criminals, then we'll start to look at their policy positioning and to see who amongst all these three criminals is best suited for us. But if they are telling us that Obi is squeaky clean and this, that, and the other, when we know factually that is as crooked as they come, then you want to push back on that. So I think that's pretty much what labels that. But I do take your point. We do harp on about Peter Obi's criminality a bit too much.
But one man, in addition to what you just said, right? Pointedly, most of the time over here, we already understand the mood of some people on this platform. And we try as much as possible to avoid even speaking or talking about anything, right, that tickles that fancy in them. But at the end of the day, they are the one who go back to circle around it, and then you again will be so irritated about what they are. So it brings about almost immediately the agitation or the conversation about the same topic again. So it's like we are going back to zero level. So except maybe they have, because what I've done these few days was just to take to look at the conversation that has been going on for the past maybe 1 week or thereabout. And for the first time, I've been hearing about Niger Wash. I went to that place. I went to see what they were doing. But one thing I can come back with in my final analysis is I will advise you to keep the standard high as you've kept it. Do not derail. Because, one thing I like about that place is that they will tell you this platform is for so. Somebody actually called in threatening on live that they will kill somebody. They know their house, and they know this because they were speaking about some other candidates. This platform is not like that. I've invited a couple of people on this platform, and they've come back with a very good feedback. But when we are discussing political narratives, of course, I'll be championing a new trajectory in the Nigeria political space, which are the two guys, Omoyele Sowore and Adewale of SDP. And I've always maintained my stand that if any of the regular folks, the establishment guys, is in the mix, then I cannot take that serious. But how do we do without speaking about this guy? Because they just have to find a way to. I've been thinking about it, how you would take the topic off from this platform. But when they keep to embellishing, we can't be quiet when we know the truth and when we know the fact. But when you bring the fact to the table, they target tribalism. They target anything they want to call it. They say you are bringing
you say the tribalism. I don't like it, but I can. But it's people going against known facts to argue blindly. What has been established and documented.
I had like three people. I invited like 3 people to listen on this platform maybe 3 days ago when you came. I think it was some topic, and they were saying no. Somebody was trying to rationalize in 21st century why a governor will go with 250 million naira, and they're trying to paint it this. And two other guys who are my colleagues, they were saying, "Are you serious?" But let's not talk about that.
Yes.
How do you want to do it without speaking about this guy? Because if
it's impossible now, because it's a front.
I don't want this
politician.
Some of them will act they are neutral, but at the end of the day, you know what they're doing. They will come back with the same narrative. And I just want to say, you are doing a good job. I've gone to do research. I've seen other platforms. Do not lower the bar, no matter what. You are doing a good job, and God will continue to bless you. I have to go now.
All right, thank you. So that encouragement certainly needed, because sometimes when you are being weighed upon, you wonder if you are being tribalistic as well.
No.
But one man, can I say something? Can I say something?
Yeah, hold on, please.
Don't take us back to tribalism.
No, yeah, hold on, please, guys. I understand both sides, trying to defend the record and also scrutinize the record, which is good for the debate. But going forward, I want us to focus, not ignore the past, but just look into the future of how they will act, their policies.
No, but that has to be based on their antecedents.
Not necessarily, because where they govern were at the state level is very different at the federal level. Your character comes into play, so I get that. But let's have a balanced debate about policies at the federal level, as opposed to just being bogged down with this tribalist rhetoric that is not going to go anywhere. Everybody's going to maintain their own position. They're not going to budge, clearly. I mean, we've been doing this for how many months now? So let's focus on actual policies. Wait, I can actually look at that objectively. That will negate that tribal sentiment if you just if you make it objective argument as opposed to all this back and forth.
All right. Thank you. But I think we somewhat try to make it objective because we try to make it fact-based. But let me acknowledge Kulata Super Chat, and then I will come to you, Babati. So Kulata Super Chat just to the conversation with X0 a moment ago. It says, also, I think he's trying to expand on what he said earlier, just to say to X0 that actually it applies to everybody. It says additional stereotypes are 419, the Yorubas, terrorism, the Fulanis, prostitution, the Edos, etc. That is how Nigers mess around all over the world. No group is spared. So in broad loose terms, that's somewhat right. Because I'm not sure if the Yorubas are exclusively 419, but certainly 419, you make that attribution. The champion being Hush Puppy. But terrorism, that is the second name of the Fulanis. And we all know about the Edo thing. Go to Italy if you don't believe, and then you see them on the streets. So there it is, and there it is. Let's go. Thank you for the super chat, Kulata. As we go on to Babati, and we take you then in a different direction. We take you to this space, the debt management office. He's speaking now on the Nigerian debt profile, telling us that the country is just leveraged to the hilt. Soul destroying amounts of money being owed by this country, but that country. The 41.6 trillion is 4.6 trillion is the latest estimate as of March, and it continues to ratchet up. And they are saying it's essentially wrapped around that budget deficit space, and the real burden, the real weight of the budget deficit is wrapped around the fuel subsidy space. The fuel subsidy, of course, being a scam. But the justification, then they said they have to increase the revenue. But then, of course, you have to increase the revenue, but how? So the justification and the panacea by the DMO, what says you, Babati?
Well, it's quite unfortunate. We've talked about this extensively on this platform, about how the debt is unsustainable. And some people have made the argument that it's not necessarily that we are racking up debts. It's that we don't see the impact of the debt or the loans being sourced on the economy. If they were borrowing a lot of money and doing great things that was impacting the country in a positive way, nobody would say anything. People will still give them credit for doing a good job, but nobody knows where the money is going. And I've maintained that at some point, with the opportunity to borrow money, I know one man talked about we're still under borrowed. You used that word a while back, that we're still under borrowed. And I'm thinking, do we have to get to the point where we're tinkering at that edge of not necessarily being able to get loans that we start complaining? So to me, it's not really about the loans. It's what the loans are being used for is what bothers me. And in terms of that subsidy argument, I've always said that I know our statistician talk about taxing and revenue raising and stuff like that, and I brought about I mentioned here the last time I was here about targeted subsidies, to help our people go into the unions, especially the transport unions and the market unions that can help the poor. So by the time Dangote kicks off his refinery, we can have that little cushion effect to help the people out. So it should be a more targeted help to the people. But back to the loans, it is not sustainable. Everybody knows it. But as long as the people are tolerating it, they will keep borrowing because, like we all know, we have a rubber stamp House of Rep and Senate. So the people have to rise up to the occasion and fight for their own country. And as of this point, there's no will. They're pretty much giving up and they're just hoping that God does something. And unfortunately, we just have to wait until Buhari leaves office and just have to, like we said in Nigeria, endure again. We must endure Buhari until he leaves and we can get a new government because it's not going to change. People are not going to complain about it and it's going to get worse. So hopefully we don't shut that place until it leaves. But that's the only way because people are not going to rise up to the occasion to do the right thing. So I'm not happy about it, but that's the reality that people have given up and we're just waiting for Buhari to leave office.
All right, brilliant. So still within that space, though, because it's a space that continues to give. So by the estimate of the Nnpc, Nigeria consumes 60 million liters of petrol a day. So you can't see where that consumption is because in even more advanced countries, they don't even go anywhere near that 60 million liters a day. So that's their computation, which is totally false because a lot of people will put the estimate at no more than 20 to 30 million. But that is their estimation and computation. But even with that fraudulent computation, they are releasing 98 million liters of PMS per day. So the Controller General of the Custom is asking, if by your computation, 60 million liters is the consumption of the country per day, what then is happening to the other 38 million barrels? Yes. So can you unravel that mystery, Babati?
For me, I spent before I left Nigeria. I spent about 10 years. For people that lived in the border towns in Nigeria, they probably know what I'm saying. The lifeline of most countries around that border is Nigeria. They get many things subsidized because they share proximity with Nigeria. And Nigerians that live over there or have families or businesses in those countries have perfected that criminal act of destroying our own country to help other people. Now, it's been some kind of parasitic relationship that we didn't really care about because in the past we had a lot to offer, so nobody really cared about it. But it's more. But now it seems very coordinated. One man, like even in the government. Like I was reading a story the other day about how even the Navy, they literally even they even help these people on the seas to steal this oil because the way the system is set up, it is impossible to move that much oil without nobody knowing, right? It is impossible to move that much oil. So the military is involved, the government is involved, foreign governments are also involved. But it just goes to show you that we have many hands in the job, but they're not Nigerians' hands. They're just selfish and foreign interests. But I think it's more of the countries around us. They have figured out a way to partner with criminals in Nigeria to benefit their own country and loot that country down. That is what is going on. I think it's more of our neighbors have too many hands in our pockets. There are so many things that they rob that country of. So many things from the firewall. I grew up doing the. Sorry. Give me a minute.
Yeah, have some water.
Sorry. I grew up during the Shino Rambo era. So if you know Shino Rambo, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so I grew up during the Shino Rambo era, and we know firewall was a big thing. So it was not just cars; they were doing many things as well. So we've not really cared so much about our borders, and people have pretty much their livelihood has been based on exploiting Nigeria with the help of other Nigerians as well. So is something that we need to look into? It just at some point we cannot keep feeding other countries around us. Be your neighbor's keeper, but survive first.
All right, brilliant. Let me take you to one final space, Babati. A brief commentary on this. Nigerians detained in Dubai, passports seized. So I played a little clip on that. Nobody is any the wiser why they are being held. A lot of them are saying they have valid visas. The Dubaians, they are not able to really give any reasons. They're just telling them to get out and go and stay.
Let me just don't even bother finishing that your sentence. Why do we behave like this? No, seriously. Even in America, yeah, once you see 10 or 20 Africans moving into your area, you start to worry because you know very soon they're going to do something stupid. Why are we like this? I won't mention any tribe. I won't mention any because, I don't want to get me in trouble on this platform today. But why are we like this as people? Anywhere we go, even if, was it Bali or one country over in Asia? Where's Bali? Where people go there and they work online before COVID and they spend their money for cheap without paying taxes. Nigerians get there. What do? They start going online. Look at me. I'm flexing. They mess that system up for everybody. Some things you stay low key. Other cultures do it today. They stay low key. They make their money. You won't hear anything. But we get to a place we don't care about our fellow Nigerians. We mess the system up for everybody else. We've messed up. Me and my dad, we went to China. We were supposed to go to China in 2017 after I left Nigeria for a business trip. We were supposed to have some Nigerians meet us in China. They could not get in because they said the company has to write them directly in Nigeria to get them in because the system of Nigerians already messed up the system over there. Because we were American citizens, we got like 3 months business visa from here, from Houston, easy. So why don't we care about our fellow Nigerians that what you do in a foreign country affects everybody else? We don't give a damn about anybody else. We don't care. We are selfish, narcissistic group of people. We don't give a damn about anybody else. We go into a space. We think because we are making some little money, we are flexing, then damn everybody else, damn your country, damn your race, damn your own people. Woman is everywhere. I'm sure in the UK too. You have stories that you can share.
Mm-hmm. What seems to be coming out now is from these Asian countries. Because I monitor the news a lot. I see almost every day you see this Indian police parading some Nigerian elements, either for love scam or for drug dealing. That's usually the two spaces.
No. Don't you think that?
So now, when you land in India with a Nigerian passport, then
yeah. So don't you think that it affects badly on your own people when you do those things? When you go and scam somebody for love,
of course. Now,
when you scam some people, even I have friends that are not Nigerian, they will jokingly say, "Oh, I've got an email from a Nigerian prince today." Like it's some funny joke to you. No. Do you know how many friends? I have friends that had to change career. One man in America when I first got here. They could not, maybe in the UK it's different though, but in the early 90s or late 90s, there was no way they were going to hire a Nigerian in any bank. It's that bad. They wouldn't, no, sorry, early 2000s. They will know where
Yeah,
they
no, it's in the UK as well. I think the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, he actually made a joke about that it got backlashes from
you see
about just the Nigerian.
why
It's
why
just
why do you think that is? Because they don't trust you in their finances. They've seen too much. You know this and you both. They
when you
keep
employ you in a bank and you start sending data to hush puppies.
data. Even I worked in one hospital. One man in my undergrad days. One man there was a Nigerian guy that went that was caught. This guy was selling people's security number, and it was using it to open a credit card. That was before we even have smartphones. So it was using before they knew what was happening. The man already had over 30 million naira dollars in Nigeria in the early 2000s. Guess what happened? Not only did they not hire any Nigeria anymore for that finance. It's a very big healthcare company. They have over 200 or 300 hospitals. They didn't hire any black anybody because of that incident.
You know, the Royal Mail in this country, they don't hire Nigerians in their sorting office as well, because when they go into the sorting office, they start opening mails, looking for credit cards, looking for details. You know.
Somebody called me. It's a good friend of mine. It's a very good friend of mine. 2 days ago, I was at work. Do you know what he told me? She sent me a form. She said, she needs to get into this program, and the form that is when you go to your physician now, they must do a physical for you, right? To say, okay, you're healthy enough to do this job. She said she just sent me the form through email. She said that I should sign it for her. She said, no, they won't check now. It's okay. I'm like, why would you? I can sign it, but why would I want to do that? I said, don't want to I just need help. Why is that in our system? They always defraud. Why are we like that?
And put your license at risk.
Yeah, like why would I said, okay, I must look at your vaccination cards. Have you done? I must physically look at you. She said, don't worry, it's okay now. They won't know. Why do we always like shortcuts? Even in school, they in America they still find Expo America. How they get all these things? They get exposed in America here, Nigerians. I don't know who they are paying or how they break into the system. Why are we like this?
And to be honest, the worst fraudsters in the world, they are actually the Pakistanis and the East Europeans. If you're talking about fraud, it's the Pakistanis and the East Europeans.
They are worse. This is the difference. I have met one of those. What's his name? I met him after college. They actually have a conference every year for hackers, where they bring the best hackers from in the world, mostly from jail. It's a deal with the government. They put in jail and say, okay, if you can help us with this stuff, they will bring them out and they will use them to help them perfect. They tell them what's going on. This guy was so good. In fact, the government said no. They put him in a house arrest. Like no, you can't even. This guy was that good. But do you know the difference between them and Nigerians? They keep it low key. They will not rob you and go on Instagram flexing that they stole your money. They are very. You see a millionaire that's a thief in India, is driving Honda. So I agree with you. You have worst hackers that are Indians and Chinese, but they don't flex their money. Nigerians, look at hospital now, classic case. Even if you live in Houston, you will know. Maybe in the UK, maybe in the UK, but in America here, those New York, Houston, and LA guys that are into frauds, you can easily pick them up at the club, because once they steal some money, they are there at the club spending money. So they can't keep it low key. Number one, they don't care about other people. Number two, and it's mind boggling. Even your so-called professionals, went to the best schools in America, that fraudulent mindset is still in their heads. I didn't see. Okay, if you go on the board of medicine, Even nursing, Joel can testify to what I'm saying because he's a nurse. Go and look at people that have lost their licenses because they put it there every week or every month. Joel can speak up so you can testify. Go and look at it. Go and look at the name there. You will see people lose their stuff because maybe they didn't give a medication or somebody died. If you see a Nigerian name on that list, one man that they withdraw their license, it's because of fraud or lying. It's not because of any error. Everybody else lost their stuff because they failed to do something in healthcare and somebody died, normally. If you see any Nigerian on that list, because they have that case there as PDF, one man, they will tell you what happened and they will do that. If you click on any Nigerian name on that list, it's because that person committed a fraud or lied in healthcare. You can ask Joel and you see what I'm saying. Why are we that way? Is it, woman? Is it?
No, I think it's our system now. We function. The Nigerian system is completely corrupt, and corruption is actually a form of governance, business, and everything. So you go into, before you even get through the gates, you have to, as you roll down your window and pass your 500 naira to the gatesman, and before you can see the special assistant, you have to bribe the receptionist, and before you can see the Oga, you have to bribe the special assistant, and they also do the bribing in their own course of life. So it's just that's just how we are built, isn't it? Really, we're built on that.
One man, I almost got in trouble with my license because I was supposed to be the medical officer for a nursing home. They needed somebody to be their medical head, and it was a Nigerian guy. This guy was signing before Obama came on. He was signing that he was seeing people at home, and he never even showed up to see the patient. And he was just signing, and he and his LPNs, they were just signing. They became rich. They became rich. So I'm like, I'm supposed to sign at the end of the month. I've been their head. I'm like, wait a minute. How did you see this many patients within 5 or 7 days? It's impossible. This is fraud. They said, oh, God, forget that. Those people don't, Americans, they just give us money. Nobody checks. When Barack Obama came, that guy went through. There's one city close to Dallas, Texas, Garland. Most of the people that were there became rich through home health. Ask Jerry will tell you, home health made people rich through fraud. Nigerians, though, in this country, they came in through fraud. And almost 10 years that when they were going to jail, you come and see papers, come and see evidence. I'm like, fear God now. Why? I mean, you know what?
But you see, the problem with those sort of things is that they don't see it as the individual; they see it as the Nigerian. So that then puts everybody in that bracket.
At risk. That's the problem. I've had put on.
What are you eating? I hope you are not eating ekpa. What's going on, Babati?
Sorry, I'm doing broccoli stuff.
All
but
right.
I've been turned down for a job. My first month in Boston because of this issue. As a medical director of a facility, because of this issue. I didn't know that that was why. Because I'm like, I'm qualified to hold this stuff. And it was almost 3 years later on that they told me, okay, that was one of the reasons. That if you are Nigerian or whatever, they don't want you, Mr. Gomez works in healthcare. Even in healthcare, if it's anything finances, they are wary of Nigerians. They don't want you around funds. They are always very hawkish around you because they know that demon might come upon you again. But if you own your own practice, even woman, let me give you an instance. In my time in primary care, I had a patient come to me and he said, "Oh, I want this stuff for this. Okay, you have this so bacteria, so you need antibiotics." He said, "Doc, yeah, I can't afford that medication. No." I said, okay, I will give you some codes for discounts, right? If you don't have the money, there's some code you can use. He said, "Don't worry, I'm going to the African store." I said, "To go and do what?" He said that man has all the medicines there. A Nigerian in this city is selling illegal antibiotics for people in America here without prescription, and he's bringing it in and selling it to people, and people are buying it. In America here, one man, I'm not kidding you. I'm like,
we're just criminally minded.
Our man rap Viagra call by the roadside.
Is that in Sweden? Look at this one.
And the man, no. And the man had enough to tell me.
Ṣé wọn náà máa ń rà ń bẹ̀ ni báwo ló ṣe mọ̀?
Báwo ló ṣe mọ̀ is the question. Àbí wọ́n kan ló ń tà? Àbí wọ́n kan ló ń tà?
From consumption to production.
This is sad. This is sad. The man was selling anything, everything, antibiotics. I'm like, the man even had the nerves to call me. That guy is a little guy. He had the nerve to call me that I should be referring people to him. I said, imagine, call me to refer people to you. You know that I'm like, man, this guy might be in trouble. But he had too many Nigerians buying stuff from me. I'm like, I left primary care anyway, so I've never been back there. But it's just disgusting. The kind of stuff we do. Even insurance fraud here, Nigerians are there. Medical insurance fraud, Nigerians are there. Why are we like this? Somebody answer me this.
No, it's quick. You know, we have a blow culture and a show off culture and a shekarime culture. We like to flex and we like to go big, and we don't have the patience to build wealth because we want to be wealthy as young as you can, to show off, and we have this oppressed culture as well. So you have more to weigh down upon people within your circle. So it's all of that.
Sorry, let me give you one more.
All right, that more, and then we have to move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was this guy. He's a little guy too. No, don't
tell us the ethnicity anymore because
I'm sorry, but that isn't true. I'm sorry. This guy on Carfax Velocity Online, this guy will buy a car with somebody's credit card. On Telegram, it will get the card number, buy the car, they will keep it to him, change the name before they even know anything. The car is in Nigeria. I'm like, and he's a pharmacist. Oh man, you will not believe he's a pharmacist, though, trained pharmacist in this country. I'm like, these people are better. I've given up on you people. I've given up. He's still my brother, and they have a group. I'm telling you, it's go ahead, man. Sorry.
One man, can I go, please? Because I just came back from work, so I can sleep.
Yes, I was just waiting for Babati to round up. So thank you, Babati. Let's come to you then, Joel. But on our way to you, let's go via Alexander Gomez's super chats. He was super chatting to agree with Babati's anecdote about corruption within the medical space in America. It says, Babati, smiling, you are correct. So that's Alexander Gomez. He continues with the super chat, Alexander Steele. He says, I am not ashamed to say it. I am a very proud Lagosian and unapologetic about it. Check the banter between one man, Ajanle Koko, and X0. It fills me with joy. So thank you, Alexander, who always delights in the platform and how it's presented. So to you then, Joel. So good to have you, Joel. Let's take you to the space. Let's take you to the space of the Nigerians being detained in Dubai for reasons unknown. That's really what birthed that those anecdotes by Babati. But what is it with the thing that the Nigerian passport is an invitation for whichever, however, whatever country border space is to vest some sort of trauma on you? Why is the Nigerian passport such a traumatic thing to carry?
Because the country has been bastardized. It has been bastardized. The greatest problem of the black man is leadership, be it in the US, be it in Africa, be it in the Caribbean. And the reason why it is so, the trivial issues like religion, tribe, color, self-hate. And when you juxtapose this together, you start seeing that there's no group in the world that survived on this. The people you see going outside there, you are blaming them. Why are you blaming them? You see, sometimes in Nigeria, we like people that comes out to speak too much grammar. We like the sensationalism. We leave the core. The core is that when you have a country where you have a chancellor that goes into power, and in 3-4 months he's building a house, you are creating a society that is not based on hard work. People do what they see. In a country like Nigeria, you see someone become a bank manager, and tomorrow you see him building houses. What do you think is happening? Maybe it's my classmate. What do you think I would do? Wherever I go, depending on how I see it, wherever I go, I can go there and decide to do what? Double up. We have this issue in Nigeria where we celebrate criminality. You do not ask anybody where they got their money from. My mom will say in Napoli, that nobody asks you where you get the money, how much you got, where you get the money. Do you have it? That is the Nigerian mentality. That's the mob mentality. We have turned Nigeria into a country where nobody wants to take that time to learn, take that time to develop, take that time to sell, or take that time to give service. So that is why you see a lot of us outside there. Those people that you see going outside there, what do you think they're doing? Wherever they are, do they have any papers to stay there? They do not. So what will happen if they throw them back home? We are all human beings. The survival instinct comes in. Is it an excuse to be a criminal? No. But you all agree with me. If they put 3 of us or 6 of us in a place, in an area with no housing, no source of income for tomorrow, no sure way to eat tomorrow, among the 6 of us, including my Oga Alexander Gomez, we will start thinking about something. If there's no legal way to do it, we will start looking at the illegal way to do it. So that is the problem we have. It's a Nigerian problem. It is not just. It is not just. It is not just a fraud in healthcare. It is in a lot of things, even in marriages. What are we talking about? It happens every part of Nigeria that travels outside of Nigeria participate in this fraud. It does not matter where you're from. There is not going to be any section of the country. Show me one Yoruba person, and I will show you 10 Igbo person. Show me one Igbo person, and I will show you 10 Yoruba person. Show me one Igbo person, I will show you 10 Bini person. We are all in this thing together. The only thing is that we have a lot from this crowd that you see. These are most of the people that travel out. Our brother that traveled out from the north, what did he do? Didn't he go to bomb the plane? So let us just keep it down and really look at the nitty-gritty. What is really causing this problem? The problem we are having in Nigeria is leadership. And until we address that, we are going to still have these problems. Thank you.
All right, brilliant. Let me take you to the space. Subsidy, why release 98 liters of PMS instead of 60? So it's the custom chief asking the NNPC about this, and it's only asking really because the NNPC, by their computation, they've arrived at 60 million liters of petrol being consumed by Nigerians daily. But at the pump, they are releasing 98 million. So why release an additional 38 million liters per day? And this is what they have been doing through the Buhari administration. So just the volume of money that's already been looted. So why release it, and where is it going to, etc.?
Okay. You see, that's the reason why I did not enjoy the earlier discussion we were having about Obi. And sometimes when you speak eloquently, it does not necessarily mean that you're making sense. Sometimes issues that makes no sense can be spoken eloquently, and facts can be spoken in loud words. And I'm referring to enigmatic. You know me. I put my face to it. I put my words to it. I put the name to it. There was a time we were talking on this show. We were talking about subsidy. And they were saying, why don't you ask Peter Obi how it's going to address subsidy? Why don't you ask Peter Obi how? What was my response that day? Peter Obi said something. Peter Obi said, how is it possible that we are consuming that amount of fuel per day? That Nigerians are suffering. That it will be nice to know how much we consume in a day, to see if we can now say, you know what, if we're going to keep the subsidy, we keep it. If it's something government can manage and still pay up its bills and do some other things, then we'll keep it. If it is something that they need to review, maybe a little bit, so that their hardship will not be on Nigerians. Peter, we address this issue. And we talked about it. How is it possible that Lagos State consume less fuel than Kano? Because that is where the smuggling takes place. When you go across the border into Niger.
In fact, I don't think they consume petrol in Kano State outside of Kano City itself. So
no. You wouldn't know.
Yeah, only Kano City consumes. Yeah,
it's a cartel. It's a cartel.
Yeah, breaking off. Yeah, Kari. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, go on. Yes, we can.
Yeah,
now,
it's a cartel. It's a cartel. When you go outside, if you go to Benin, and what's wrong? Okay, hold on. Is it better?
Yeah, I think I can hear you. What's going on?
All this American system. This is it. When they sold everything. Yeah.
Speak on.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Gary.
Yeah. So when you look at these fuels, when it goes across the border, it is 3-4 times the amount. So it is possible that these guys already have what they call it, gas stations in those areas. And the more you even ship it further, because there are people that are there to buy it from you, that they will not take it to all those other places like Mauritania and any place that they want to do, even Libya or any place that they will pay them more money for it. So it is a smuggling channel. That was why he was telling us we need to know first how much we are consuming. But thank God, the reason why this thing is coming out under Buhari didn't know this thing was going under him. It was because of the privatization of Nnpc. Now they are now a company. Now they know people have shares in the company. There is now private investment. That is the reason why this thing is coming out. Government, in fact, let me tell you, if there's any place government should not manage any business, it's in Nigeria.
If you know how they brought down Nigeria Airways, it was during those days. I will go to see my father at territory those days. You will see somebody just bring the tickets. They were doing it like Saraka. You come, even your own girlfriend. Hey, oh, where do you want to go? People were flying. They weren't paying. They were giving the tickets to them. They messed the whole thing up. So there is no way we can solve this problem until we start privatizing these companies and giving it to good companies, not the kind of privatization Atiku did with the power sector. We have capable hands to start managing these places. We revive the place through a PPP partnership, and we give it away. Let them make whoever, if it's Nigeria, whatever. If once you have the capacity to manage it, you have the managerial capacity, you have the technical capacity, go and manage it. And you also have the financial capacity to do so. So that's the problem we have in Nigeria, one man. It's an unfortunate situation. And it will get worse. Look, as time goes on,
hold on. Sorry, I want to move on now. But sorry, Babati, time. But thank you, Joel. So let me go on from you, Joel. Let me go on to Ajanle Koko. Ajanle Koko, you are up next. Let me take you to the space that Joel was just leaving.
What of San Diego? Has he spoken?
No, he hasn't spoken. I was going to go to him.
You can go to him. Go to him.
All right. So San Diego, you are up next. So San Diego is now Oba of San Diego. So it's no longer an IPOB. He has crossed cultures. So we have to give him a Yoruba name. It looks like a Femi to me. So we'll give him the Yoruba name Femi since he's now an Oba. Adefemi has to be. So Adefemi of San Diego. Let me take you to this space at San Diego. This is something that we touched on in yesterday's session, the afternoon session. The young lady that went on her day off from work, she went to the 2 million man march Peter Obi rally in Port Harcourt. She put the clips up on her social media space. Her bosses saw it and then summarily sacked her, telling her to go find a job with Peter Obi. But a good Samaritan comes to the rescue, San Diego, and it says, Apostle Chibuzo OPM grants scholarship, automatic employment to girls sacked for joining Peter Obi rally by her boss. So a happy ending for that one, San Diego. We were just worrying how to get money to the girl yesterday.
Yeah. Good morning. One man is good morning over here in California. Good afternoon, everybody, wherever you are. Salute everybody. Yeah, very interesting. Remember, we were talking about it yesterday, and I mentioned that, if I can find a way, to send that girl money, I would definitely do, or other people will do, because I have a lot of friends there, that would have been a good thing. But like I said, Good Samaritan has, come in, which is a good thing. I was speaking about the same thing, that you can't discriminate, that there has to be a reason why, it has to be political motivated, or they have a reason, they just use that as a reason. It may not be political, it may be, yeah, that was wrong to begin with. I mean, everybody has the right, to protest or to march, to align with any political party that went. But I'm glad, the outcome came up this way. It's very, very, I remember I told you that, Nigeria, we are very good people. Forget about what's happening or what we're talking on, on this platform. We have very good Nigerian, we're very giving people. So I'm glad I come to that ending. Very good. I'm glad for her. Definitely.
All right, brilliant. Let me take you to a different space. Nigeria's debt profile. So the department, the debt management office, rather, the director general, presenting reports at the House of Assembly, and she's then letting us know that Nigeria's revenue, it doesn't quite marry up to her debt. So we are not earning enough to service the level of debt that we're carrying. And it's saying this is a lot wrapped around the fact that Nigeria's budget is always in deficit. So they're always having to borrow to carry out the budget. And the weight of the borrowing is wrapped around that fuel subsidy narrative. We've heard, of course, just now that even half of the fuel pumped out of the depots, they just pump it into their pocket. But what are you making then of this heavy debt and the justification being given by the managers of the space?
Oh man, that's so ironic. Is he now realizing about it, or is just trying to make it, make everybody know? We already know about what's going on in that country. I mean, we never, we just borrow. I mean, we don't, the deficit, it doesn't match what we, it doesn't match what we borrowed. So what he's saying is, not just saying it doesn't even make any sense to me, because it's quite obvious that we're in debt and we borrowed, and we don't have enough to balance it. So it's not really something new to my own understanding. So that's the country of Nigeria, the way we are, the way we manage. That's where we find ourselves where we are right now. I mean, poor management. I mean, you borrow, you can't produce enough to match what you borrow. I mean, revenue, doesn't equal production. So that's terrible. That's what Nigeria, is in this predicament they are right now. It's a very terrible. I don't know how to analyze the situation. It is.
All right. It gets even more complex, but some of the reasons that might explain that debt and the lack of revenue to service it, the Nnpc, they are telling the Nigerian space that Nigeria consumes 60 million liters of petrol a day, which a lot of people find highly fantasized sort of a figure. But even though by their computation, Nigeria consumes 60 million liters a day, they are actually pumping to the tankers from the depot 98 million liters a day. So these are highly subsidized petroleum for the Nigerian market. So the question that the custom chief is asking Nnpc is, where is the 38 million extra liters going every day?
Of course, that's the one they are being stolen. But I don't believe that figure, because how many people drive? I mean, okay, like they claim we have 20 million, 20 million in population, or 20 plus million. How many people own a car in that country? I mean, could you say about half of the population? Probably not. I would say maybe about 70% that use car in that country. No, I'm sorry, that's 70%. About 30%. Am I wrong? One man, what do you think? Is that?
Yeah, no, I think that's even. I think probably even overestimating it. I don't suspect that there's more than 20-25%, because a lot of people use mass transit transportation. Yeah, but the petrol is also consumed with generators and all these sort of auxiliary uses. Yeah. Are you there? All right. I think we left San Diego temporarily. So let's go on to Ajale Coco for time. So Ajale Coco, you are up next. I think San Diego has been called away by matters. But to you then, Ajale Coco, that space then, the disparity over nearly 60% more being pumped by Nnpc as opposed to the figure of consumption that they've quoted. The custom chief is querying it. So there it is, Ajale Coco.
Thank you, woman, and greetings to our listeners around the world. Click on the like button, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so. Yeah, that different could be amounts that been stolen, or amount of petrol being stolen on daily basis. And if you are a country with that functions as in line with democratic system that we call ourselves, the assembly should jump into this and invite them for is it open session, they call it, or hearing. They should invite them for hearing and investigate it to know, to get the fact. and see who is playing game, and whoever discover playing game or enriching themselves through that means be punished according to the law. But you have a country that people in the political class have arrogated so much power to themselves, power that are not given to them by the Constitution. Power with impunity, looting the resources of the state every day, and nothing happened to them. So, and number one person that I want to hold responsible for these corrupt practices in this petroleum is the president. President, because he's the one in charge of Nnpc. So, what is going on there that he doesn't know? So, if he doesn't know what is going on there in Nnpc, that means that it could be we could see him as a complicit in these corrupt practices there, because you can't be in charge of a particular sector or a parastatal or a company, and a lot of corrupt practices going on there that's killing the economy of the country, responsible for the the poor performance of the economy, because Nnpc is supposed to be remitting a lot of money to central bank, forex that we can use, to pay our debt and our bills, and help business industrialists and people that runs business and by forex. These are the money that's supposed to be paid to central bank, but it's been looted away, by officials of Nnpc who are under the presidency. So the president is a complicit in this, and it's just those in the political class that, including the president, those in charge of Nnpc, all of them together, that we can hold responsible for this. So it's just unfortunate, one man. So that's the way I see it.
Sorry, Ajale Koko, we lost you.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can now. Carry on.
Okay, so what I said is that the president is the one in charge of Nnpc. He could be held as complicit in this because all those people that work in Nnpc are working directly under him. And with all these corrupt practices going on there, that have affected the economy of the country, the forex that ministry, or how can I, government agency make for selling the crude oil, it's supposed to go to central bank that can be used, to pay our bills, and can be used by industrialists that needed forex, to run their business. They are denied of this forex. So, and the president is there, who is in charge of the Nnpc, who is in charge of the oil sector. So all of them are complicit in this, and the National Assembly, if we have a National Assembly that work for the people, this is where they have to invite all of them and get to the root of the matter. But all of them are just the same political class, the same, what do you call them? The same status quo that doesn't mean well for the country, all for themselves, loot the resources and constantly and continuously for their own benefit and not for the benefit of the country. So You can't expect anything to happen there. As long as you continue to vote for these people in power, this is what they will continue to do. So that's my take on that, woman.
All right, brilliant. Thank you, Ajanle Koko. So Ajanle Koko, the debt management office comes up to they are with the parliament to justify just the heavy weight of debt that the country is borrowing. So they've narrowed it down to the fact that the country has for decades been running a deficit budget. So the budget has always been in deficit, and they've narrowed that deficit to the fact that and by the way, 85 the country is actually owing as of now 41.6 trillion naira, but 85% of that is at the federal space, and the bulk of the deficit that they borrow the bulk of the deficit that they borrow for the budget is to do with the oil subsidy space. So what are you making of the justification of this heavy debt by the debt management office and that subsidy again that continues to hemorrhage the Nigerian wealth?
Well, it is good that the debt management office is keeping us to date on how much we owe our creditors around the world. When this administration came in, what we are owing was 10 trillion naira to our foreign debtors. 10 trillion. Now, within the space of 7 years, it has increased to 70 trillion. To 41. And I believe before they leave, they might get close to like maybe 50 trillion, if not 45. It might be up to like 50 trillion.
No,
when
54. 54.
Okay. So the same with central bank. When they came in, the debt of federal governments to central bank was 648 billion naira. 648 billion naira. What is it today? It's 19 trillion to central bank. So they owe some commercial banks and some contractors, and they want to continue borrowing. It's just telling us that we cannot sustain this. It's unsustainable. We are heading towards economic disaster. Already we are in a financial, we are financially bankrupt, but the loan that they're still getting here and there make us look as if we are still in good shape. We are not in good shape financially. We are financially bankrupt country because our debt services have surpassed our revenue. We are paying 1.9 trillion to service our debt against 1.6 trillion revenue that we make. How can we sustain that? Is it possible to sustain that? It's obviously not. So we are going to run into a situation when our creditors will not be able to borrow us anymore. And when they don't borrow us anymore, how could we function as a country? How can we run the economy without fund? The consequences of that, we are going to see serious lay down of workers from the federal to the state and local government, and a lot of businesses will close down. A lot of businesses are closing down already in Nigeria now. So Kulata recommending more taxes how can you put a burden on burden of taxes on people and businesses when the economy is not running well? So that will totally kill businesses, and when businesses are killed, your economy will be gone. So it is just telling us and warning us that this time around, we have seen what this government have brought on us. Or if you ask them, what have you done with all this debt? They will say infrastructure. And then when you look at the infrastructure, how many infrastructure have we seen? They will say Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. They will say they build what is that bridge to Aba from Asaba to Aba. But they will say they build rail track. And so what? Because you want to build infrastructure, so the country have to be bankrupt? Let us go through this infrastructure, they said. Let us value all this infrastructure and compare it to the debt. And then you will see that these people have looted that country to death. So it's just we are heading towards economic disaster as well as financial disaster. We are in a big financial disaster now, but it hasn't shown because we are still getting some loan. But we get to a time when our incapability to pay back the loan will be very obvious. Then the creditors will say, okay, we cannot do it anymore. And that is the situation. So one man, we are in a bad shape as a country, and our listeners around the world, those of you that want to vote or have your people at home, you cannot fall for the status quo. They have brought us to where we are today. Get away from their side. Let us vote for people that that are different from them, that are not part of the status quo. And we have Omoyele already there. We have the SDP guy there. Those are the guys. Those are the people. If you have some other candidate that you see in other party as well that are not part of this status quo, those are the ones that can take you on a different direction and change take us away from these criminals that we have that are killing your country every day. So that's my take on that, one man.
Oh, all right, thank you, Ajanle Koko. And Ajanle Koko, very, very briefly on this. So the story that because sometimes we follow through, and in this instance we have followed through, the young lady that lost her job for reasons of marching for the Peter Obi rally, marching with the Peter Obi rally in Port Harcourt. So it looks as though rescue has come. Some good Samaritan offering full scholarship. So good news, a rare one, but a very brief commentary on that, Ajanle Koko.
Oh, that's a good news, and I'm happy for that girl. And that should tell us that we have Nigerians that are good people. Somebody that offered to give that lady scholarship, and we should commend that person. He has done good, and God will be with him. Because a young lady that doesn't have anybody to sponsor her education, just only working somewhere so that she can make some money to sponsor her education, but only because he's participating in political activity, supporting Obi. So the owner of where she works have to sack her because of that. That is very, very outrageous. So, but I believe that owner now will feel ashamed that he did what he did to that girl. When one way open, several way when one way closed, several ways will open. That is what happened to that girl. So, young Nigerians, whatever you believe in, candidate that you know is good for you, participate, don't lay back. You are 70% of the eligible voters in Nigeria. Why must we even be following all these criminal politicians? You are 70%. You should use your power. This lady have done well, at least to participate. She believe in Obi. That is the person she believe in. You young people believe in a different thing. Come out, come and participate, and then change your country for the better. Vote for the right candidate. So, thank you, one man.
All right, brilliant. All right, brilliant to Apple. So brilliant to Apple. Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you one and all. Please make sure you've clicked on the like button, and if you're not already subscribed, please do that. Meet us in the evening. So, yeah.
Can I just chip in? Yes, I heard what Ajali Kuku just said. Was a nice way to round up. But sometimes I don't understand the argument when we talk about Obi. I don't understand this platform. You guys bring in this argument. Maybe it is to strengthen the Obi's position. I don't know. But when somebody is trying to eulogize him, you hammer. When somebody is no longer talking, you praise. I don't understand anymore. I don't understand. You know.
No, it's a balanced conversation.
Tribal. Or he tags it tribal.
One man.
I don't like anybody tribal. No, I don't.
You didn't let me finish my contribution.
What did I say wrong, Zero? Did I say anything wrong?
No, you didn't
I
say
don't know.
wrong.
He's objecting that you are praising the girl. As he was objecting that you criticize. It's just an objectionable sort of.
I don't understand though.
No. Everybody have the right to follow whoever they want to follow. Following Obi does not mean that that's what she believes in. I cannot convince her, but I can advise people to vote for better people that have not, maybe jointly or partly supported this corrupt political system and political parties that we have in place. So that is just what I'm saying. But she did right to support Obi. Nothing wrong. That's what she believes in. And standing with Obi, which our boss, fire hard upon that, and our good life now. With scholarship, she won't have to stress herself as she was doing
destiny,
before.
Isn't it?
I mean, that's
destiny.
it. Yeah, that's destiny. Yeah.
All right, brilliant, Ajale Koko. So yes, San Diego, we were with you, and then there was a heavy period of silence. I was even saying,
No, it's okay. I'm not going to keep you. I'm busy too. I was doing something on my system. So
yes, you were talking, and then there was just heavy silence, and I was saying, San Diego has gone to do something, waiting to hear your voice, and we didn't hear your voice. So then Ajale Koko stepped in.
It's okay. I'm not going to keep you. I know it's time. Maybe in the afternoon.
In the afternoon, you get priority.
But I just want to say one thing. Everything Ajale Koko said about our GDP and the total debt ratio is correct. But just one analysis I'm going to make in reference to the debt ratio. Nigeria debt ratio is not actually bad, compared to other countries, even Japan, US or wherever. But what we make, how we utilize our, the money that we borrow, that is, that's keeping Nigeria where they are. The debt ratio is not actually bad, if you really consider other countries. I just wanted to make that point. But, we can analyze that in the future.
All right. We'll certainly expand on it because it's a space. It's one of those spaces that we should be spending a lot of time on. So thank you, San Diego. So that's San Diego. Is now the Oba of San Diego. Look at that. He's claimed that whole city for himself. So
you can't be claiming Yoruba title and why you don't pay anything for us that are Yoruba. Don't stop it, San Diego.
Ajale Koko. I'm partially Yoruba, partially Igbo, I'm partially Hausa. Believe me, okay? I'm a Lagosian, okay?
Okay.
He's a Nigerian. That's it. It's Wazobia.
Well, don't worry. Our brother Alexander has bailed you out now. You said you are a Lagosian. Okay, you are bailed out. No problem.
Thank you, Baba.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We meet in the evening. No, you are from Sweden. I'm from Sweden.
You're 0. You are from